Welcome to Community Convener, the official podcast of the Henry County Chamber of Commerce. My name is Joseph Henning, and I'll be your host. Welcome to our 8th episode. This podcast is all about bringing you the people, programs, and progress driving business growth and community connections right here in Henry County. This week, we have a packed episode including Clayton State University's Emotional Intelligence Summit. We spotlight some of our incredible members and volunteers, and we share some can't-miss upcoming events. So grab a coffee and let's dive in. Well, welcome back to this episode's Catalytic Conversation. We're excited to be joined by Dr. Reginald Turner with Clayton State University. Dr. Turner, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and the wonderful continuing education opportunities that you have?
So thank you, Joe. Good morning to everyone. I am the Executive Director for Continuing and Professional Education at Clayton State University, and I've been with Clayton State since 2019. And what we do in continuing and professional education, we offer hundreds of courses and non-credit classes where we are able to offer courses that lead to employment and courses that we call leisure that are for enjoyment. So anything from, we call it project management to learning how to play the piano.
Okay.
And we also have a conference services arm. So for those individuals who are interested in hosting events at the university. And then we also deal with what we call contract training, whereas we serve as the learning and development and training organization for companies that don't have the ability to do that. And we can customize curriculum and content for, let's just say, much less than corporations were charged to do it.
Okay.
So we have an entire arm of faculty and staff that are able to do curriculum development and instructional design for companies who are interested. And of course, we are in the economic development space. We are the talent development portion that then talent development leads to workforce development, and workforce development kind of leads to economic development. And I've been in higher ed since about almost 30 years. So I've done everything from student affairs to academic affairs to continuing education to enrollment management. So I've done a lot of different things at the university level, at the community college level, as well as at the for-profit level.
Wonderful. I appreciate you taking the time because I know you have the Emotional Intelligence Summit coming up. To kick us off, can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind that?
So my inspiration for the summit came from an experience that I had really in the late 1990s.
Okay.
Around emotional intelligence. In 1995, Daniel Goleman wrote the book, Emotional Intelligence. I happened to take a seminar, I think around 1999, if I remember correctly. And I was amazed at the 4 tenets of what emotional intelligence is all about. So self-awareness, then self-management and self-regulation, social awareness, being able to read the room and understand what's going on around you, and then relationship management as it related to how we engage with each other with conflict, and how empathy kind of holds all of those 4 tenets together. And over my career in life, I've had some lived experiences where I've seen emotional intelligence on display at a very masterful level, and how it de-escalated things, how it helped students in classrooms, how it helped in doctors' offices when you have your medical professionals being able to understand and read what's going on with the patient. And my encounters with law enforcement and, like I said, teachers and in organizations where I was able to observe leaders demonstrated in such a masterful way. So I've been working on this for a long time. But I thought with what's happening in the world today, with us not being able to hear each other, us not being able to resolve conflict amicably, and when it feels like the world is on fire, I felt like this was a great time to get people together, to have a conversation, to listen to each other, to be able to demonstrate empathy for each other. Because at the end of the day, I do believe we all want the same thing. But when we're not able to be emotionally intelligent about it, we're not able to, because the intellect only gets us so far.
Right.
And so intellectually, it's not going to get us out of the situation that we're in. And the long way of answering your question is that with all that's happening in the world today, I thought that it was a great way for us to have this conversation about emotional intelligence and understand how it's the glue that kind of holds all our relationships together. And so in a world where we might feel so disconnected, we wanted to, at this summit, to give people the tools to rebuild that glue for themselves, their careers, and really for the next generation.
Yeah, I no, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the explanation because if I put the business community lens on and you hear about, the most diverse generations in the workplace,
Yes.
you look at job dissatisfaction, job satisfaction, mobility, things like that. At the heart of it, emotional intelligence will take care, it'll get us further if we are all on that path. So
Yes.
I appreciate that. You've got a wide range of speakers and sessions in
Yes.
that. I think I saw like business, clergy, mental health. I believe there was some public service, police in that. Let's talk about who you've designed this for.
Yes.
What's your audience?
Yes. So, Joe, imagine a 3-day event where teachers, nurses, CEOs, parents, and even children come together to learn how to turn conflict into connection, how to turn stress into resilience, and how to turn uncertainty, and that's the big thing
Yeah.
that we're living in right now is uncertainty, how to turn that into an opportunity. So that's what's going to happen at the summit. So we have over 60 sessions, as you mentioned. There are a lot of diverse sessions with everything from how to talk to your teen without losing your cool for parents to AI and empathy, and can machines learn heart for tech leaders. And there's even a track for children where they can practice emotional intelligence through games and storytelling. And that component for children will also be on them being able to record videos for themselves. So we're going to be doing some work around the aspect of them being able to make videos, right?
Okay.
So because emotional intelligence for this summit is not just for boardrooms, but it's for playgrounds, it's for families, it's for everywhere that we engage with each other.
Yeah, my hat's off to you because I think it's amazing that you're offering this from a family and preteen angle
Yes.
because I think so much is needed there from, when we look at mental health and everything else.
Yes.
I think it's the time that we need to address that. There was some talk about some police officers in that. So tell me if you would what that track looks like for maybe if we've got some police officers or public safety officers that are interested in attending.
Yeah. So we're calling it a law enforcement track so that it covers kind of all aspects of how
Okay.
we work with law enforcement. And what we were after with that is, especially in this space too, where so much is happening around the world. We see it on TV where we have,
Yes, sir.
these ICE agents and different aspect of law enforcement and how they can actually de-escalate a situation when they approach a situation. It could either get out of hand or if they use emotional intelligence. And that first part is self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Is really being aware of where they are and what they're thinking and how they're behaving, and then being able to manage themselves in the moment, even though it might be in a crisis, how to be steady. And if you're not able to steady yourself, it could mean life or death for yourself and for the community that you're engaging. And it's taking us back to the old fashioned like community policing, where we are looking at where we are part of a broader community and how we can pay attention in these spaces through social awareness that we're able to de-escalate situations before they create situations that we all regret in the community.
Yeah. I think that you're right. It is so true because we're seeing the proliferation of a lot of conflict and
Yes.
lack of communication. And I think, we've looked at social media for a number of years and the fact that people will say things from behind the monitor about somebody else but wouldn't say it to their face. And so you see just this
Right.
whole buildup. And so I think that even if you've been through an emotional intelligence seminar before, this one at this time is just spot on.
Right. And speaking of AI, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we know that AI is here to stay.
Yes.
So we are going to be dealing with AI. But AI without EQ is like having a tool without a soul, right? So, think about how chatbots they gaslight the users through algorithms that sometimes reinforce biases.
Absolutely.
But at the summit, what we're going to tackle in the AI space is questions like, how do we teach machines how to respect human dignity?
Oh, wow. Okay.
How do we stay human in a digital world? And these answers start with emotional intelligence. And it's the bridge, I say, between Silicon Valley and Main Street.
I want to shift gears a bit because Clayton State defines social mobility in such an intentional way.
Yes.
You're very intentional about that. How do you see this emotional intelligence as a tool to help elevate lives and careers and make that a bigger change?
So that's a very powerful question. And thank you for recognizing that our main strategic focus right now is on social mobility. And when I was thinking about putting this summit together, I thought about how important emotional intelligence is with social mobility. When you think about it, Joe, who's promoted the most? People who are able to have a level of self-awareness,
Right.
people who are able to regulate themselves, people who can read the room and understand what's going on, and people who can resolve conflict. Like if you're not able to do those things, no matter how talented you are, how gifted you are, you will not be able to climb the corporate ladder. And workforce development now is not just about technical skills. It's about creating leaders who can inspire. And this is a big word for emotional intelligence, who can be adaptive. Because so many people, with as fast as things change, we are not able to always adapt. And those who are able to innovate, even when the ground seems to be shifting. And this is especially important for marginalized communities. EQ is the latter. So how else EQ works in a social mobility way, like it is the confidence, for example, to negotiate a raise.
Mm-hmm.
It's the resilience to be able to bounce back from failures and biases. And it's the ability to build networks that through genuine connection. And we talk about the importance of networking and how important it is to meet people, but without emotional intelligence, a lot of times people go to networking events and don't necessarily know how to network.
Well, they don't get the
Part of this,
connection. They don't make
I
that
love that.
connection, and
I
that's
love that.
that key piece. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And so when we invest in emotional intelligence, we're not just filling jobs. We're actually building pathways out of poverty, right? And that's why it's really important, especially in Clayton, Fayette, and Henry counties, which are our particular service areas. It's really important. So I think the summit is going to help in those ways too, that it definitely aligns with our strategic plan and Clayton State's mission right now for social mobility.
Appreciate that, and I appreciate that focus. Absolutely. If someone's interested in attending, where can they get more information?
So they can go to www.claytonstatecape, that's
Okay.
CAPE.com, and all of the information for registering is there. So we have a pre-conference on Wednesday. And so the pre-conference I'm really excited about. We are working with the book, The Let Them Theory. Have you heard about it, Joe? It's taking off now. It has a lot
Yeah.
of steam. And it really is talking about how to look at the things that we can control and the things that we can't control, and how that's a level of emotional intelligence when you're able to surrender, when you're able to accept, when you're able to go along with without needing things to change in order for us to feel safe. So we're going to have a full day of that with prizes and surprises and books and activities and materials. So for those who just want to attend pre-conference, there's actually a session just for pre-conference. And on that day, we'll be working with the teens, and we have a community partnership with K Studios, who they're going to be working with the teens on an emotional intelligence track on Wednesday. Then individuals can register for the full conference, which is on Thursday and Friday. And that's where we'll have over 60 workshops that we'll be
Hmm.
offering. We have 2 keynote speakers, and we have a panel discussion and a networking reception for those who want to attend the 2-day session. And then there's an option to attend all 3 days. And so on the website, there are the prices for the pre-conference. There's prices for the teens, there's prices for the 2 days, there's prices for the full conference. And the good news is there's still time for you to register with a discount up until the end of the month.
All right.
And the summit, by the way, will be July 9th through 11th.
Okay.
And that's Wednesday through Friday. And it will be held in the Harry Downs Center at Clayton State University. It will be breakfast will start at 7:30 a.m. and we'll kick off sessions at 8:30 a.m. every day. And
Okay.
we'll go to 5.
Wonderful. Well, and I think it does so much for all of our mental wellness when we look at that let them theory and
Yes.
know that, change the things you can change and the rest just let it go. Dr. Turner, I want to thank you so much for your time today. I am looking forward to seeing this in action. And I think that, we're seeing so much more around organizational culture, emotional intelligence, mental health and wellness. And so I think this is just yet another great example of the Southern Crescent coming up with some great opportunities for the residents of, as you said, Clayton, Fayette, and Henry counties. So thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. And I'll say this in closing, right? So here's my challenge to the listeners.
Okay.
So what conversations are you avoiding? What relationships that need mending? What in the workplace culture is slipping? The EI Summit is where you'll find the courage and the community to fix it. So let's not just thrive in chaos, but start thriving through chaos. So I encourage all of the listeners to join us for this important work.
And one more time, is it csucape.com?
It's Clayton State
ClaytonStateCape.com.
So www.ClaytonStateCape. And CAPE stands for Continuing and Professional Education.
Yeah.
So it's our website for my department.
For your department.
If you go to the university's website trying to search and find it, there's a whole lot of stuff that we're doing as a university out there.
Wonderful.
So thank you for the work that you're doing around this, Joe. I appreciate it.
No, my pleasure. I think what we find so much is that oftentimes one of us needs to take the step, and then you start finding a team and a coalition and a partnership, and then it just gets its own momentum. And so I appreciate what you're doing. I think it's supporting what we're doing. I think that others are looking to get in there and help. I'm excited.
Okay. Well, thanks so much.
My pleasure. This episode's elite highlight is Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital of Henry. Encompass Health firmly believes that every success starts with their dedicated team of professionals, so Encompass makes sure they are empowered with all the tools they need to help their patients be successful. Innovative technologies, advanced therapies, customized treatment plans, and coordinated care teams. These are all part of their promise to deliver the highest level of rehabilitative care. Your team of speech, occupational, and physical therapists will work with you on achieving your unique goals. At an inpatient rehabilitation hospital, you'll receive at least 3 hours of therapy 5 days a week to help you regain your independence after a life-changing injury or illness. Encompass Health's approach to therapy goes beyond the basics and includes activities of daily living, such as grooming, dressing, cooking, leisure activities, and more, helping you get back to what matters most. Thank you, Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital of Henry, for your elite support. Welcome back for Voices of the Chamber. And with us today, we have Christy Chewning with Central Georgia EMC. Welcome, Christy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Tell us a little bit about your role at Central Georgia.
Sure. With Central Georgia EMC, I am the Member Engagement Coordinator. Just a real simple way to put it is I am active with community development, public relations. A lot of the things that I do in my job are with youth. And Washington Youth Tour scholarships. Usually the end of the school year, I'm out at schools. We're doing truck days, safety presentations, things like that. But on the inside, I get to be a data nerd and
There you go.
look at data and do some analytics on data. Just kind of a well-rounded
That sounds good. Yeah.
position.
That sounds great. I mean, you had me at data. How long have you been involved with the chamber?
I have been involved with the Henry Chamber since 2007. One of the very first things I remember, I started to work at Central Georgia EMC in 2007. One of the very first things I did was I came to the chamber and I called citizens of Henry County about SPLOST.
Oh, that's brave.
So I have a long, deep history of promoting SPLOST in Henry County.
Yeah, I remember my first SPLOST. It was, I think it was about 4 months into the job.
It was.
Yeah. Nobody told me that. Speaking of which, Sharon Ponder, and we talked to her earlier in an earlier episode about the Resource Center and that, but she was chair when I came. You were chair the next year in 2020.
Yes.
That was a really interesting year.
It was.
What did you get out of that year as chair? What did you learn?
Wow. Yeah. So I think I officially chaired in person one time. It was in February and we were at the Capitol.
Yeah.
And then the world shuts down. And it's like, well, what do we do? And coming off of Sharon's year, we just wanted to kind of rebuild off of what we had planned for that year. We had some different ideas and we knew we kind of wanted to go into the digital world with video and doing things like this. But we really didn't think 2020 was going to be the year that we would do that. So, of course, we were forced to get comfortable with this and learn to do that. But I think one of the greatest things, and we said it, is, we kept talking about the new normal.
Yeah.
And even in 2025 now, we're still not what we were before 2020. We're better, as a chamber. And, but I really enjoy doing the things that we started the DEI committee, which is the Engagement and Inclusion Committee now. We started our community dialogue.
Yes.
And we read books and we did book talks. And those were really eye-opening and very interesting. And I had written down the one book, just in case I didn't remember, but it was Blind Spot, Hidden Biases for Good People. That was one of my favorite books because it really did make you think about what are your blind spots? What are your hidden biases? So I recommend that book to anybody. It was just an interesting time of learning and growing and trying to think of things differently. And one of the things that I also remember that we did as a chamber is we helped our businesses go into an e-platform so they could do sales online. I think Lincoln Parks was really active with that. So, we looked at our situation in 2020 and we grew.
Absolutely. I mean, we weren't the only ones that were experiencing that, but it was an opportunity for us to really push that envelope. And as you said, we were going to look more at the digital pieces, but we had kind of had a different plan. We couldn't go with that plan. I think the other piece that you mentioned too was, I believe to the best of my knowledge that you are the only chair of the chamber that had a board meeting at the Capitals. Well, you didn't get to do anything in person here. You were the only one there. So congratulations on that opportunity. We talk about how the chamber came out stronger, and as a result, the membership in the community came out stronger, and we were able to ride that COVID wave. I think the interesting thing is too that with your leadership and the leadership of our board in that while it's comfortable to go back to the way things were, we haven't done that.
We have not.
And I think that's also a testament to you and your leadership and the board's leadership that we keep pushing that envelope. And now with the Resource Center and the change to, as you said, the DEI to engagement and inclusion. Tell me how, if you would, that transition to engagement and inclusion and your leadership with that group, how does that look for our business community?
Yes. So when we started the DEI committee, really 2 years in, we started talking about even that was not as inclusionary as it needed to be. So for 2 years, we talked about in committee of, hey, do we need to change the name? Do we need to change our focus? And so we broadened our horizon just to make it inclusive and more inclusive of everybody. And because we're here to support all businesses in Henry County. So it really was an easy transition. I think some of the things that have helped with that are the summits that we've done. It's just a good group to get involved with, a committee to learn more and to broaden our horizons.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've been very impressed with the transition, for lack of a better word, of that group and to be more engaging and inclusive and how they're looking at culture from an entire organizational perspective. Yes, right. How has this involvement from the volunteer, the board chair, the board relations, the SPLOST, how has that shaped your leadership?
Community is my job. Community is so important, whether it's in your personal life, your business life, and the Henry Chamber helps shape that because you do get out in your community and you learn more. I've learned a strong community has a strong business and a strong government. So Henry County is that.
Absolutely. And I think the collaboration that we see, not just with different organizations, but around that board table is amazing as well. As a final wrap up, what value do you think the Chamber brings to the business community and to leaders in the community and the community as a whole?
Yeah. For business leaders, the Henry County Chamber of Commerce is a strategic partner, and it opens doors, amplifies voices, it helps you strengthen your brand, and provides resources for your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Christy, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your leadership, and look forward to talking with you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, Morel McCreary here with Ramtech PC Solutions. We provide IT solutions for businesses that need our services. We focus on IT help desk. We focus also on cybersecurity and IT compliance. If you guys ever need assistance or ever have a wonder of if I'm doing my IT right, is my IT guy doing what he's supposed to do, give us a call. Let us help you with that.
And welcome back. Here are the upcoming events. On June 26th, join us for our next Leadership Lab for the Emerging Business Leader Program, Leading from Within. From 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the Hudgens Room, emerging leaders are invited to join us for an immersive leadership experience facilitated by EQ Growth Lab. Whether you are building your career, launching a business, or stepping into your first leadership role, this session is your chance to reset, refocus, and reconnect with the leader you are becoming. On June 26th, join us for Business After Hours at Fun Spot America Atlanta. From 5:30 to 7 p.m., join us for an extraordinary evening of networking, great food, and a celebration of Fun Spot America Atlanta, a family-friendly amusement park featuring thrilling go-kart tracks, roller coasters, arcade games, and more. Join us Thursday, July 10th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for The Bridge in its first of many visits to Henry County Chamber. A mobile resource center, The Bridge will feature an attorney, financial advisor, HR professional, and business consultant. We believe this moment represents more than just collaboration. It's the convergence of vision, technology, and service, and we want you to be a part of it. We will feature The Bridge on an upcoming episode. On July 15th, From Vision to Victory, Maxwell Strategic Planning with Judy McMurtry. Join us from 11:30 to 1 in the Business Resource Center, where we wrap up our From Vision to Victory series with a dynamic hands-on session designed to align your vision with action. On July 21st and 22nd, join us for the Henry County Schools Educator Launch. This annual event, we encourage Chamber members to help welcome 600 new teachers to Henry County Schools by sponsoring or providing 600 items representing their businesses for teacher gift bags. We ask that you do not include glass, brochures, or flyers. And finally, on July 23rd, in our Business Resource Center, join us for Visibility is Profitability, featuring social media strategies for Henry County businesses to better understand social media when creating and scaling their businesses. This week's Connecting Point features Abigail Watkins discussing the benefits of the mentorship program sponsored by Kaiser Permanente with mentee Lisa Thurston of Thurston Business Services.
Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today. We're going to talk a little bit about your experience with the Henry County Chamber of Commerce Mentorship Program. So if you could just give me a little bit of information about yourself and your business.
Well, absolutely. And thanks for having me, Abigail. So I'm Lisa Evans Thurston, and I'm the owner and founder of Thurston Business Services. So we provide IT project management services for cybersecurity implementations and for HIPAA compliance.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Just a little bit more background information. What made you want to participate in the mentorship program? What have you been working on? What have you learned? And what do you hope to gain moving forward?
Well, I've been a member of the Chamber for 2 years. So at the time when the mentorship program started, it had been about 1.5 years. And from all that I have seen, the Chamber is very dynamic. It does a lot of things. It provides a lot of opportunity for interaction and not just networking per se, but actually interacting and getting to know people. And then I met some of the Chamber members and developed those connections with them. And in observing what they do and how they do it, I thought, well, if there's a formal or formalized program where I can learn some of that and increase my efficiency and up my game, then I'm down for it. So I went to the interest meeting and found out more about it, and I liked what I heard. And it was, I don't know, it's been great so far.
Well, I'm glad. So What would you say the most valuable part of your experience has been so far?
The most valuable part of my experience is that I have a mentor who was so well matched with me, not only my business and my industry, but also with me as a person. And being able to learn from him and his style of, I would say teaching, but of his style of asking questions and helping me to think outside of the box that I didn't even realize that I was in, that has been valuable.
Perfect.
For
That's
sure.
exactly what we want to hear when we're talking about that kind of mentor-mentee relationship. What kind of guidance and support would you say you've received that's really stood out to you that your mentor has given?
Wow. So for me, I'm a kinetic learner, right? I learn as I do. And my mentor, who is Morel McCrary of Ramtech PC Solutions, he is a very tactical and practical person. So for me, the value is in, hey, Morel, this is what I do and what I want to do. Here's what I've seen in my business and in my experience. And have you thought of this? Or have you thought of the other thing? And I will tell you that one of the biggest values that I have received is rethinking my business. So I'm an IT project manager and program manager by trade. I was at Delta IT for well over 20 years as an employee and later as a contractor. And I know IT project management, right? So I'd go out to businesses or potential clients. Oh, I do IT project management. What does that mean? Blank stare. And so in talking with him, it has helped me do a couple of very important things. One is to understand that I have to come from the perspective of the potential client, right? What is it that I do that they need that I can help? How can I truly be of service to them? And to do that, I have to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, those kinds of things, so that I can understand if I can be of service. And then as I was talking with him one day, as we tend to meet every month or so and talk in between there as well, we talked about niching down, which I'd wanted to do. And we started talking about some clients that he was aware of that he has that could use some help in the HIPAA compliance space. And that incorporates the cybersecurity, which is where I come from. It incorporates policies and procedures. And as a project manager, I do that all day. And that resonated with me. And that's been about a month or two ago. And I will tell you that that has resonated with me so much that that is where I'm focusing now. And I took some time to really deliberately think about it and understand if this is where I want to go, and it is. So I've done that. And I'll add one more thing, if I may,
course.
of how the mentorship has really helped me. So my business, as I said, is called Thurston Business Services. And that's because when I first started it some years ago, that was the name that I thought fit, it had my name, it was whatever. But I realized through this program and in talking to people I've made connections with at the chamber, it's like, well, what does that mean? What do you do? It doesn't tell my story. In talking with Morel, I realized that I have to have a name and I have to have a focus that tells my story, not just of my business, but who I am and what I'm doing. And so this mentorship program has helped me to go forward with my rebranding, and that is to Project Management Partners, which is my new business name. And I have been so excited about that because I feel like that tells people what I do. If you're at all familiar with project management, and if you're not, it gives me entree to talk to them about, what I offer. And I didn't want to have the word HIPAA in there because I do more than that, right? I do cybersecurity, I do PCI, I do infrastructure, I do a range of things in terms of project management and helping people with their projects. So I feel like Project Management Partners tells my story, and I'm grateful to have been made to think outside of the box that I didn't know I was in. And I feel like I'm getting out of that box now.
I think you definitely are. I mean, I think you answered half the questions I had in that, which was a lot about the changes and improvements that you've seen in not just your business, but yourself as a business leader and a business owner. So I think you really tackled that beautifully. A lot of good information in there about your mentor as well. So it was really interesting to kind of hear how that dynamic plays into things. I think the next question I want to ask is going to be a little bit outside of what we've already discussed, the beginnings of the mentorship program and your mentor. With the second half of the program coming up, what would you say your top goals are now that you've kind of switched from what you were originally in your business to more project management?
So my goals for the second half of the mentorship program, which is really the second half of this year, is to immerse myself in the world of my potential clients, right? And my clients. And they live in a variety of spaces, surprisingly. So there are healthcare providers, and then there are businesses adjacent to healthcare providers that do business with them. So for instance, if I'm a healthcare provider and I have a transcription company that I pay for and that works for me, or I have an IT company like Ramtech who comes in and does my IT for me, then they also have to be HIPAA compliant if they handle any of the HIPAA data. So that has really given me a broader sight as to who I need to be around, who I need to talk to and understand what they do and what they need to make sure I understand that, are you HIPAA compliant? And if not, let's talk about that and because you really need to be. And so the second half of my year in this program will really consist of living where they live, talking to them, understanding what their pain points are and what their good points are, and see how I can help with those as well. So I'm ready. I've started that already, and
Amazing.
it's good.
You sound extremely excited, extremely ready to go. So it's always exciting hearing people's plans, especially when they have kind of pivoted from what they knew they were going to do for so long. So I guess kind of along that line, what would you say has surprised you the most about being part of a mentorship program like this?
Not being able to, but I would say learning some things that I didn't even know I needed to learn, right? So as the project manager and program manager for years, I make sure that the team that I'm working on has KPIs and they do all the things and they are doing reports and we're doing status together. Guess what? I got to do them. So that's one of the things is like, that's helpful for your business. So it's like physician heal thyself. You've got to do the things that you're telling other people to do because that's what helps you to be successful because that's what you have done to help others be successful. So I think that was a little surprising, but as I think back on it, not really, but it's certainly been helpful. And so that's something that I keep top of mind and it's on my whiteboard and make sure I do.
Perfect. Yeah, it's one of those you need that extra push. You kind of knew you needed it, but having someone else tell you and sitting you down and saying, this is something that would be great to incorporate in your own business, not just for your clients, is always really nice to hear. Are there any specific skills or areas that you feel like you've really improved on, whether that be the business side of things or more personal, how you kind of handle client relationships or just your business in general through the program?
I would say one in particular that hits both the personal and the professional side is making connections, not just networking, because I think there's a connotation about networking that is this, hey, I'm coming to meet you so I can get you as a client, but really making connections with people. And that has been the biggest one for me. So in the beginning, I was very hesitant, like I'm a little introverted. I don't really want to go out and do this. And so now it's really par for the course for me to go out and just meet people. I don't have to be at a networking event, but just talk to them. And in fact, I was at an event last week and I met someone and we're talking and he does something in the trades and I do what I do. And we were just making a connection and having a nice time. He said, oh, by the way, you need to meet my wife. She's in this space. And I thought, well, okay, I wasn't here for that, but this is really great. And that's because I've become much more comfortable with it and much more comfortable with myself. So it's been good.
That's perfect. I think a lot of people kind of have that connotation with entrepreneurship and starting your business that you have to be extroverted. So it's always really good hearing, as an introvert, being able to step out of your comfort zone. And especially networking is one of those big things that kind of is the caveat for people starting their business. So it's really great to hear. So thank you. Kind of last question that I really wanted to ask, just in general, looking down the line to newer cohorts, because we're starting a new one in June, what do you think is something that mentors and mentees should look out for, something impactful beyond, I think, putting yourself out there, something that they should know coming in if they're interested?
From my perspective, I would say it is being proactive. So what I found most helpful is certainly getting my mentor's advice and his thoughts, and that's been invaluable to me. But what's really made a difference is when I am proactive and I say, I'm working on this or I'm thinking about that. And well, what do you think? And then going through the things that I am going through, as opposed to just having a conversation, but being proactive and I'm not in class and I'm waiting for him to impart knowledge on me, but to just start a conversation where we're back and forth talking about things. That has been when I feel like we've come up with some of the best ideas, right? And one of the other things that I would advise is if there's an opportunity to observe your mentor while they are doing what they do and how they do it, then please do. I've gotten a chance to do that a couple of times now with Morel, and I appreciate it. Just, he can tell me, you should do these 3 things, right? But seeing how he does it in action, I don't have to imitate how he does it, but it's certainly giving me an opportunity to see, oh, well, that works. And then incorporating that and making it my own. Take your kid to work day, but, take your mentee to work day kind of thing. That has been really helpful. So I like that. And then making sure that you have the conversation to see, is there an opportunity for me, the mentee, to also be of help to my mentor?
Yes.
Can I be a referral partner with him? Or can I just tell people, hey, I know this person and he happens to be very good at what he does. He has a great company. And so when I hear people who need IT services, that's who I normally think of. And it's like, have you met Morel? And, 9 times out of 10, they do. Yeah, I actually have, especially here in Henry County. But they may not have thought to call his company. And now I'm like, well, here's what I know and here's what he provides. So I'm glad to be able to be of a little bit of a referral help to him. And I think that would be great for any mentee to not only look to receive, but to see how they can give as well.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect answer, knowing that a mentorship mentee program and relationship is a two-way street. You can't just give or take. It's got to be both from both sides. So I think that was perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Are there any last thoughts that you want to leave anyone with, anyone in the program?
For me, I would say, each one teach one. So my goal is to learn as much as I can. I know I won't learn everything in a year, and I certainly understand that learning is ongoing. But as I graduate from our mentorship program, I would like to be in a position to be a mentor to others, because if we all reached over, like up or down, and helped somebody else, man, wouldn't we be awesome? So that's something to think about as new people come in and they're looking to gain wisdom from their mentor. Think about it from the perspective of, in a year, where do I want to be? What would that look like? And what would I need to do to get there? And that kind of becomes the roadmap. And one of those pieces on my roadmap is to become a mentor as well.
That's a perfect way to end this kind of discussion. So thank you so much for your time today. All of this insight was incredibly valuable, not just to learn about what the current cohort is like, but just why people should be interested. So thank you so much.
You are welcome. And thank you. And thank you to the Chamber for even having this program. Man, it's a life changer for you and for your business, but also you as a person. So thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
This episode's Member Minute features upcoming ribbon cuttings for some of our great members. On Tuesday, June 24th, we join Maddie's Wings Wellness Resort to celebrate their milestone. On July 1st, join us at the Chamber for a ribbon cutting celebration for New York Life Central Georgia. And on July 18th, we welcome JW Partners with a ribbon cutting at the Chamber. Finally, be sure and mark your calendars for our next new member orientation on Tuesday, August 19th. Join fellow members, volunteer leaders, and the Chamber team as we guide you through the many benefits and opportunities available through your membership.
Hey guys, I'm Morel McCreary with Ramtech PC Solutions. Have you ever wondered if your business is compliant? Have you ever wondered if your current IT guy is doing what he says he's going to do for your business? If you have questions like that, don't hesitate. Please call me at 678-999-2172. And we can check and make sure that you have the support, compliance, and cybersecurity that you need.
Thank you for joining us today. If you are interested in discussing membership benefits or sponsorship opportunities, please connect with our team at 770-957-5757 888-278-5786 or at henrycounty.com. Join us next week for more member and community news and to learn more about the Bridge Mobile Resource Center and its impact on Henry County small business. Until next time, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep growing with us at the Henry County Chamber.